Good evening to all. Kathakali, literally story play, is an amazing amalgam of dance, theater, music, vocal and instrumental. This 17th century old dance drama tradition has underwent several substantial transformations over a period of time. The language of Kathakali primarily is based on the hand gestures. And dance forms, as I said earlier, a major component of Kathakali. And to groom a Kathakali artist, right from salutation, namaskaram we say, to the final performance without makeup and costumes, it's a long drawn-out process. The Kathakali actors have to undergo body massage during the monsoon. And if any one of you had a chance to visit Kerala Kalamandalam, you might have noticed the strain and pain involved in the whole exercise, the physical exercises the actors have to undergo. And when it comes to the aesthetics of Kathakali, the theatrical elements, the dance elements, the makeup and costumes, all these different components deserve special mention. I'm not going into all the details because within an hour we cannot just give a complete history and aesthetic transformations of Kathakali. But to say a few words about its music, the vocal music of Kathakali was till the beginning of the 20th century based on Sopana Sangeetam, the temple music traditions in Kerala. But in the beginning of the 20th century, it underwent transformations based on influences from the Carnatic classical music. But there are some specific Kerala ragas which are combined with the ragas which are used widely in Carnatic music. And when it comes to instrumental music, you can see Maddalam, which is a very heavy musical instrument, which is held by the performer horizontally and played with both hands, very heavy instruments, and it is used in Kathakali throughout for the male and female characters. But Chanda, the high-sounding instruments, played with two sticks. This is used for the male characters. And to very rare occasions, it's also used for female characters. And there will be two vocalists who will be singing the text of the play. The principal vocalist and the supporting vocalist. The principal vocalist will have gongs in his hand and the supporting vocalist cymbals. They sing the text of the play, and this text is translated into stylized and semi-realistic hand gestures, facial expressions, and body movements by the dancers. And the makeup of Kathakali, the costuming is very elaborate and intriguing process. It takes about 3 to 4 hours for a Kathakali actor to transform himself or herself into a Kathakali character. So that's why it has often been referred to as a kind of very complicated process to become a character on stage. Because once the makeup starts, so much of details go into facial makeup and costuming. And scholars have pointed out that sometimes the signifier is more important in Kathakali than the signified. Well, I just don't want to go into other details. We'll begin with the basic training practices, in Kathakali. The first a student has to do once he enters the classroom, the kalari, is salutation. There are 5 different types of salutation, but Adithyan, who is one of the leading performers of the day, he will do one salutation for you. It's a very stylized way of paying obeisance to the gurus, to the gods, symbolically done, of course. Namaskar.
അബ്ജവാസരമണി ഗോവിന്ദമാദ്യം ഗുരും വ്യാസം പാണിനി ഗർഗനാരദകണാദാദ്യഹൻ മുനീന്ദ്ര ദുർഗാം ജാപി മൃദംഗശൈലനിലയ ശ്രീപോർക്കലി ഇഷ്ടദ ഭക്ത്യാ നിത്യമുപാസ്മഹേ സബദിന കുർവന്ധ്വമീ മംഗളം.
Now we move on to the leg exercises. As I told you earlier, dance forms a major component of Kathakali, and leg exercises are done in different rhythms. Here, Adithyan would do the leg exercise in 4 different tempos, in 8 time beats. Thank you. And now, Kathakali actors use 24 basic hand gestures. They first learned these 24 basic hand gestures, and out of which there are about 500 to 600 words which are used to communicate amongst the characters, by one character to the other or to more than one character. So let's see which are these 24 basic hand gestures, beginning with Pataka. Mudrakhyam, Kadakam, Mushti, Kartari Mukham, Shukatundam, Kapithagam, Hamsapaksham, Shikharam, Hamsasyam, Anjali, Arthachandram, Mukuram, Brahmaram, Sujika Mukham, Pallavam, Tripatagam, Mrigashishram, Sarpashirasa, Vardhamanagam, Aralam, Urnanabham, Mukulam, and Kadagamukham. So from these 24 basic hand gestures, words are constructed. And you can see some of the words which Adithyan shows using these basic hand gestures. Some words are shown with one hand gesture. Some are shown with two hand gestures. One hand gesture sometimes is shown in two hands. Sometimes two hand gestures come in one hand. So these are the different ways with which hand gestures are executed in Kathakali. So look at some of the words like tree. So if this is tree, then what is forest? Lotus flower. Lotus flower is a common image used in Kathakali. The blooming of the lotus flower. Grass, pul. Grass. River. If this is river, then what is ocean? Wind. Lightning. Mountain. Lion. tiger. Deer. Monkey. This is a hand gesture for monkey, but for Hanuman, the monkey god, the hand gesture is different. Elephant. Snake. Now let's move on to the Sattvika Bhavas, beginning with eroticism, Shringara, the hero addressing the heroine. The emphasis is mostly on the face. Hasyam, contempt towards the enemy. Karunam, sorrow, anguish. Next is Raudram, anger. Veeram, heroism, kings. Bhayanakam, fear. Bibharsam, disgust. That's expression of the lion. Adbhudam, wonder. And Shantam, state of detachment, sages, hermits, sages. Now let's move on to the dance segment of Kathakali. You've already seen the leg exercises. And with these leg exercises, the actors will, in course of time, move into different kinds of dances, depending upon the text and the context and the characterization. And here, Adithyan is going to do 3 different types of dances executed by the Kathakali characters on stage. One is in the slow tempo. Then the next one is in the medium tempo. And the last one is in the fast tempo. The first one is a 28-beat, in 28-beat cycle. Accompanied by a few lines, of course. Thank you. There is a scene in which when Hanuman is lying down on the way, Bhimasena walks in and Bhima gets angry seeing that a creature is just on the path obstructing his way. So there is a padam here, just go away, old monkey. That is the meaning of it. This is executed in the 8-beat cycle, Adithala. In Kerala we call it Chambada, but in Carnatic music you call it Adi. This is in the medium tempo.
വഴിയിൽ നിന്നും പോക വൈകാതെ വാനരാധമ വഴിയിൽ നിന്നു പോക വൈകാതെ വാനരാധമ വഴിയിൽ നിന്നും പോക വൈകാതെ പോകായിൽ നിന്നെ
Thank you. In the Mahabharatam Kathakali play, when the Kurukshetra battle is presented, there is Bhimasena who confronts Dushasana. And there is a padam here, which is executed in the Tala Muriyadanda, which is 3.5 beats. It's in fast tempo. So let's have a look at it.
നില്ലടാ നില്ലടാ നീയല്ലോ പണ്ടെന്റെ നില്ലടാ നില്ലടാ നീയല്ലോ പണ്ടെന്റെ വല്ലഭ തന്നുടെ വസ്ത്രം പറിച്ചതു വല്ലഭ തന്നുടെ വസ്ത്രം പറിച്ചതു വല്ലഭ തന്നുടെ വസ്ത്രം പറിച്ചതു വല്ലാത്തനുദ്യൂതമുണ്ടാക്കി
Thank you. In the Indian dance tradition, there is a broad division of Lasya and Tandava. Lasya is for the females and Tandava is for the males. In Kathakali, the Lasya dance traditionally has been executed by the male dancers because Kathakali has traditionally been a male bastion. But from the 1970s onwards, a women's troupe emerged in Kerala. So ladies are also performing Kathakali. these days. But traditionally, it has been a male bastion, and the female roles, most of the female roles, almost all the female roles are handled traditionally by men. And there are some roles in which the lasya is so intense, and the actors require so much of rhythmic skill, expertise to present those characters. But there are other female roles where lasya is more soft, and which anybody can do irrespective of course you need a certain amount of skill, but still it can be done by more skilled and less skilled performers. One of the distinguishing features of lasya in Kathakali, you can see when Adithyan enacts that part, this is called sari, which is a very distinctive item in Kathakali, characteristic of most of the female characters, especially of the heroines in Kathakali. So it begins with a shloka, and after the shloka, then the sari dance begins. You can notice the difference in the movement pattern, which is very much different from the vigorous movements of the male characters. Now over to the lasya.
ಇತಿ ನಳಗಿರ ಯಾದೇ ಹಂಸೆ ವಿದರ್ಭಪುರಿ ಗತೆ ತದೂಪವನ ದೇಶಾಂದೇ ಶಾಂದೇ ನಿಷೀದತಿ കുത്രചിൽ ശ്രുതനളഗുണ ഭൈമീ കാമാതിഗൂഹന നിസ്സഹ വനമുപഗത നീത ജാദാദര അഥ ആളിഭി പൂമകനും മൊഴിമാതും ഭൂമി ദേവി താനും മകനും മൊഴിമാതും ഭൂമി ദേവി താനു കാർമുകേലോളെ വർണ്ണനു ഉമാതും ജയിക്ക കാർമുകേൽ ഒളി വർണ്ണനു ഉമാതും ദേവൻ ജയിക്ക മാമല മകളും ശ്രീ മഹാദേവൻ ജയിക്ക മാമല മകളും സോമം രോഹിണി താനും കാമനും രതിയും സോമനും രോഹിണി താനും കാമനും രതിയും ഇന്ദ്രനും ഇന്ദ്രണീതനും എന്നു വേണ്ട സർവന്ദ്രനു ഇന്ദ്രണീതനു എന്നു വേണ്ട സർവൃന്ദരത ദമ്പതികൾ സമ്പത്തേ ഭവിക്ക വൃന്ദരക ദമ്പതികൾ സമ്പത്തേ ഭവിക്ക അനസൂയ ലോപമുദ്രയും അരുന്ധതി മുൻപാകും അനസൂയ ലോപമുദ്രയും അരുന്ധതി മുൻപാകും മുനിഗ്രഹണിമാരെല്ലാരും അനുഗ്രഹനന്ദു നമ്മെ മുനിഗ്രഹണിമാരെല്ലാരും അനുഗ്രഹനന്ദു നമ്മെ.
In a sense, Kathakali is a body education program. Each part of the body of the Kathakali actor is trained separately, like eye exercises, eyebrow movement exercises, chin movement exercises, eyeball movement exercises, facial expressions, then the pratyangas, neck movements, shoulder movements. See, in this way, each part of the body is trained separately. The Ankopanga Pratyangas are all separately trained, and in a full-fledged performance, which we technically call the Kaladharan, it's a performance without makeup and costumes. Everything is brought together. All the lessons which the students learned previously are brought together along with the text. Text means the singers and the instrumentalists, the Madhalam player and the Chanda player. They actually energize the movements and expressions of the dancers, as you've seen now. Now you are going to see one scene from Kalyana Saugandhika, which Adithya and his team are going to present tomorrow, in which this is an excerpt from Mahabharata, when the Pandavas are leading a life of exile in the forest. One day, Panchali gets a distinctive flower wafted through the wind, which is called Kalyana Saugandhika, and the fragrance of which attracts Panchali very much. So she comes with this flower and gives it to Bhimasena, shows it to Bhimasena, telling him that I would like to have more of these flowers. And then Bhimasena says, Of course, I can bring those flowers wherever it is. I can fetch those flowers. Even if it is on top of the mountain, it is effortless for me. Even if it is in the paradise, in Lord Indra's place, it's not at all difficult for me. I'll bring the flowers you want. I will fulfill your desire. This is the first part of the play Kalyana Saugandhyam, which you are going to see with full makeup and costumes. But now Adithyan will present as Panchali and as Bhima in both roles, which we call technically Pakarnatam. One and the same actor enacting multiple roles is very common to Kathakali and much more to Kudiyattam, the traditional Sanskrit theatre. In fact, this technique has been borrowed by Kathakali from Kudiyattam, which is called Pakarnatam, impersonation in a way, but impersonation has a negative connotation, so I'm not going to use that word. So Adithyan will enact the role of Panchali, and then he will shift to Bhimasena.
എൻ കണ്ണവ കണ്ടാലും നീ എൻ കണ്ണവ കണ്ടാലും നീ എൻ കണവ കണ്ടാലും നീ എൻ കണവ കണ്ടാലും നീ എങ്ക ഒരു കുസുമം എങ്ക ഒരു കുസുമം വല്ലത്തെ എന്നാകിലും നിജ വല്ലത്തെ എന്നാകിലും നിജ നിജവല്ലഭൻ മാരോടല്ലാതെ നിജവല്ലഭൻ അല്ലാതെ ചൊല്ലുമാർ ആർ ഇല്ല അഭിലാഷം ചൊല്ലുമാർ ആർ ഇല്ല അഭിലാഷം ചൊല്ലേറും കണവ കണ്ടാലും നീ
That was Bhimasena.
മാഞ്ചേൽ മിഴികളെ നിന്നാൽ മാഞ്ചേൽ മിഴികളെ നിന്നാൽ മാഞ്ചേൽ മിഴികളെ മിഴികളെ അഞ്ജിത സൗഗന്ധിക അഞ്ജിത സൗഗന്ധിക അഞ്ജിത സൗഗന്ധിക അഞ്ജാതെ കൊണ്ടന്നീടുവൻ അഞ്ജാതെ കൊണ്ടന്നീടുവൻ ചഞ്ചലാക്ഷി അണിയൂ ശൈല മുകളിലെ എന്നാലും ശൈല മുകളിലെ എന്നാലും ശൈല മുകളിലെ എന്നാലും ശൈല മുകളിലേ എന്നാലും ശൈല മുകളിലേ എന്നാലും ചക്ര ലോകത്തെന്നാകിലും ചക്ര ലോകത്തെന്നാകിലും വേല ഇല്ല തവ ഗീതം വേല ഇല്ല തവ തവ ഗീതം വിക്രമേണ സാധിപ്പാനും വിക്രമേണ സാധിപ്പാനും ചഞ്ചല
Thank you. Kathakali performances, especially overnight performances, conclude with Dhanashi. There is a concluding dance with the Kathakali recital, which Adithyan is going to do, followed by a Mangalam, is singing by the vocalists, praising the gods and the goddesses. Thank you.
നാരായണ ജയ നരകാന്തക ജയ നാരായണ ജയ നരകാന്തക ജയ നരദ മുനിവര സേവിത പാദ നരദ മുനിവര സേവിത പാദ നാരായണ കൃഷ്ണായ വാസുദേവായ ദേവകീ നന്ദനായ ച നന്ദഗോപകുമാരായ ഗോവിന്ദായ നമോ
Kalamandalam was instituted only in 1930. Prior to Kalamandalam, the training was based on the Gurukula Sampradaya, the Guru Shishya Parampara. So there was no time limit. So the training lasted for 11, 12, 13 years. That depends upon how much the Guru wants to train the students and how capable the students are for grasping the lessons. But with the establishment of Kalamandalam, there took place a kind of standardization. So the courses got limited to 6 years. Formerly there was a diploma course, now there is a degree program and a postgraduate program, and there is an MPhil and PhD and all kinds of academic stuff. Anyway, the 8-year training program is ideal for the students so that by the time they complete the training, they will be able to present the performances on stage. Nowadays, I don't know who is the one to guide those people, those youngsters who are interested in the traditional performing arts. Because formerly there were people who were accustomed to, who were familiar with these forms. So when the youngsters who sat with them, they could understand the story, the hand gestures, the expressions, the movements. So slowly, gradually, bit by bit, they just learned the techniques involved in the dance form in this tradition. But now, what is advisable is a kind of demonstration. These kinds of demonstrations, which give some details on the basic training processes of Kathakali, and some of the aesthetic nuances, the text, the meaning of the lines, because the text is mostly the shlokas, which you can see. These are all in highly Sanskritized. Whereas when it comes to the padams, it is a mixture of Sanskrit and Malayalam. It is Manipravalam, we call Sanskritized Malayalam. So they need to have a flavor for language. And if you have a flavor for language and literature, naturally there is a window to Kathakali. But even with a basic understanding of the language or the literature, you cannot enter into Kathakali unless you have a cultural orientation towards it. And cultural orientation is a very complex question. I don't know how this postmodern society is going to settle it, solve it. It's a big question. When the legs are flat, when you just place the legs flat, stamp it flatly, then that will affect your nerves. So that is not advisable. For me, from an aesthetic point of view, what I feel is that this is also part of stylization. Because Kathakali is a stylized dance theater, so each movement is stylized. So having the legs placed, like the side of the legs placed, stamped on the floor, that is also part of stylization. It also gives a symmetrical shape to the movements. Perhaps there could be one explanation. The eye exercises, there is a separate class for eye exercise in Kathakali, and Adithyan can briefly show the eye exercises. It is movement of the eyes, corner to corner, horizontal, vertical, half circle, full circle, and writing 8. So this is to be practiced over a long period of time. The traditional repertoire of Kathakali consists of plays which are composed from the great Indian epics, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and the Bhagavata. But over the years, new plays have also been introduced. But these plays are not popular for reasons, I don't know. These reasons are yet to be analyzed. King Lear has also come out as a Kathakali play. Then Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey, has been performed as Kathakali. Then Don Quixote, yeah, Yeah, that one has also been experimented as a Kathakali. Especially these are successes in West. In the Western countries, these new plays have an audience. But when it comes to performances in Kerala, people usually prefer to see the excerpts from Mahabharata or Ramayana or Bhagavata, because then the actors are very much familiar with it. So spontaneously everything comes. So with new productions, with new plays, then they have to rehearse and they have to practice it for many hours, and finally you don't know what the end result will be. So, but in the West, people are not so familiar with these forms, so there are many takers there. Thank you.